Today is December 2nd, 2024. My name is Rob Carter of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, I hope everyone had a very blessed Thanksgiving last week as we gathered with our families. Do you remember the name David Daleiden? I hope you do. Daleiden is a California native who had an organization called the Center for Medical Progress. And back about 2016 or 2015, he made some secret videos, undercover videos of Planned Parenthood executives or medical directors talking about selling fetal body parts or organs to research labs, for profit. They were selling these body parts, and there was an investigation by Congress. Nothing happened really, but the long term was that Daleiden has been brought up on charges for invasion of privacy, receiving information without consent, and he could possibly end up in prison. They went after him. Kamala Harris, when she was Attorney General in California, went after him. But anyway, he's not in jail. He's still working hard, and his organization has come out with new information, new research. His group conducted research based on documents released under a California public records request. Apparently, Planned Parenthood is working with the University of California at San Diego to supply 2,500 aborted fetuses for experiments. According to the report, Planned Parenthood will supply aborted fetuses in the gestational age of 4 weeks to 23 weeks gestation. 23 weeks, that is viability. Remember, in the past, viability under Roe v. Wade was 28 weeks. Medical developments, research, technology got improved, and now viability is about 21 or 22 weeks. So 23 weeks is clearly viability. Babies delivered at that stage have a really good chance of survival. The report also states that misoprostol is used, and that's the drug that's used in chemical abortions, is used to hasten contractions for women past the 12th week gestation, and to give it 3 hours, administer that misoprostol 3 hours before the abortion. Now, this is interesting. The Center for Medical Progress states that while a 50 microgram dose of misoprostol can induce labor within 4 hours, the dose that Planned Parenthood uses in this study is between 400 and 800 micrograms, 8 to 16 times more than a regular dose. This means that these are not standard dismemberment abortions, but they're either intact, partial birth abortions or full delivery of a live baby. Planned Parenthood even lists going into labor is a side effect of misoprostol and urges clinics not to allow patients to leave after taking it. Obviously, because induced labor would come so quickly, a woman is told not to leave the facility. You don't want to go into labor and have your abortion while you're driving home. The University of California at San Diego documents show Planned Parenthood using labor-inducing chemical abortion drugs to deliver viable, healthy preemies with ultrasound documented heartbeats in their taxpayer-funded abortion factories, rather than rushing those preemies to the university hospital NIC unit they can cut out their hearts and other body parts to sell for patent royalty generating experiments. This is a quote from the Center for Medical Progress. Planned Parenthood, they are in the abortion business. That is their bread and butter. They may talk about, providing birth control and other things, but really, they make their money. They make almost most of their money by aborting babies. Okay. The Center for Disease Control has released its report on the number of abortions in the U.S. in 2022. It shows that there's been a 3% reduction in abortions. Well, unfortunately, that is a very misleading statistic, that 3%, because not every state supplies data to the CDC to come up with their abortion numbers. New Jersey, California, Maryland, and New Hampshire do not report to the CDC. And keying in the state, California. California is the number one abortion state in the country in the number of clinics that we'll talk about in a few minutes, and in the actual number of abortions. A more reliable count is supplied by the Guttmacher Institute, which at one time had been Planned Parenthood's research arm. And they do survey clinics, including clinics in California. So their numbers are far more accurate. And they report that in 2023, there were 1,026,690 abortions in the U.S. Of that number, 63%, or 642,700, were chemical abortions. Now, the CDC reports that 57% of all abortions were chemical abortions. And the Guttmacher Institute said it's really 63%. So, unfortunately, I tend to think that the Guttmacher people have a more reliable number, a better picture on abortion in the U.S. And we have seen in the last 15 years the number of chemical abortions rising as surgical abortions decrease. Okay, now I'm going to give you some numbers in selective states. Of that 1,126,000 abortions. In California is the number one state for abortions, 178,420 abortions. New York State, number two, 131,440 abortions. Illinois is third, 90,790. In Florida, 86,340. Now, that number in Florida, I was surprised it was that big of a number, considering how pro-life the state is, and they have a 6-week heartbeat ban. But I don't know, when that has taken effect. And then you have to remember too that a lot of the neighboring states of Florida have total abortion bans. So a lot of women are still coming to Florida very, very early in their pregnancy from states like Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina. They're coming there and they're getting their abortions because you can still get an abortion in Florida at the 6-week level with the heartbeat law. So I've given you the top 4 states: California, New York, Illinois, and Florida. But based on population size, the number one state is Michigan, followed by Florida and North Carolina. There were 807 abortion clinics in the U.S. in 2020. Now there are 765. But in California alone, there were 180 abortion clinics. And in New York State, 107. So you add those two states account for 38% of all the clinics, abortion clinics in the US. Florida has 54, Washington State has 38, New Jersey has 35, and Michigan has 25 clinics. And you know, in the report I also saw that in places like New Mexico has double the number of abortions. And even in Kansas, they've gone up 50%. And that's because other states are, women from other very restrictive states are coming to Kansas, or they're coming to New Mexico, or they're coming to California to have their abortions. And even in Michigan, there's a lot of out-of-state women, I think, coming from like Indiana and maybe Ohio, coming to Michigan to have abortions. So the number of abortions, instead of being down 3%, I do think the number of abortions actually has increased due to the rise or the popularity of chemical abortions. So today's Pro-Life Week is not an encouraging report, whether it's Planned Parenthood selling body parts to a university in San Diego, for profit, of course, or the number of abortions nationwide. But it makes us all want to really reflect on what our mission is, you know, in the pro-life movement. We can't, you know, it's gone back to the states with Dobbs. And in some of those states, we can't stop it. But we can still one-on-one talk to women, talk to family and friends, talk to our coworkers. We can still change hearts and lives, one person at a time. And it may take a long time, but if we educate and witness and testify how dangerous abortion is to the mother and obviously to the unborn child, we can slowly turn this around. But it sometimes is one person at a time. So with that, I will let you go. I'll see you next time.